All right, I have an AirPod in at school. I have an AirPod in at a school meeting just listening in. I might not be able to speak in the discussion, but I'll take everything in. Sounds good, Kilo. All right, we're at 4-4. We can jump in. All right, Juan, I'll bring you on, sir. Let's invite to speak. There we go. I think you're muted.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Oh my gosh. By the way, how are you doing today, Justin?
Bro, I'm doing so good, Juan. How are you, bro? I want to know how you're doing.
Doing much better. As time passes by, I'm at a really critical stage with my day trading, and I just gotta say, your Justin AI, your ChatGPT is phenomenal. I just have to point that out right now. It really does help in major ways, and I've used it so much to the point where like I'm literally having one-on-one sessions with you like every single day. It's
That's
crazy.
crazy. That's crazy.
But yes, my question to you is what would you advise for someone that is overcoming the fear of success? I've gotten to a point in my trading where I'm not having or I'm not dealing with the fear of failure anymore. And interestingly enough, today I had a major loss on my funded account, but I didn't blow it. And most importantly, I feel like I'm in this void. Normally, I would be really hard on myself. I would just have the most horrible day. But as I went back to a couple of bad habits, not all of it, but just a couple of bad habits, a couple of addictions, I don't feel bad anymore. I feel like I'm in this void. What the heck is going on? And what is your advice to just finally pass this plateau?
Yeah, I
If
mean, you're making me smile because of the term in which you're saying like you feel like you're in a void. So it's not a bad thing, but I think the reason why you feel that way is because you're normally expecting to feel bad when you make a quote bad decision. But is there such thing as a bad decision? Sure, like you can, but there just is what is, right? It's what you ended up doing, right? How you the way in which people stay stuck is that they overly look at all of the bad decisions and not and no and don't just look at them as a decision, right? You made a conscious decision, and that decision maybe did something that wasn't what you expected it to do, and then you feel bad because of it, right? So it's now you're like you realize that you were the one like causing this extra weight that really didn't need to be there, and then you got rid of it and you're like, "Wait, why am I not feeling upset?" right? Cuz you just removed a barrier, right? You just removed a barrier that you initially thought was real from what culture and social media and everybody has told you, which is if you make a mistake, you should feel bad when there's no reason to, right? You're going through the process of success right now, making decisions, seeing how it reflects in your performance. And then if you make a decision that results in it not pushing you forward, you simply look at it and you say it didn't push me forward, right? There's no emotion attached to it. You just recognize it for what it is, know that you're separated from it, and you realign and go back to what you're looking for, right? Now, how do you get rid of the fear of success, right? This is a really really good question.
yes,
What
please.
I've what, so what I've experienced is anytime we're in the state of like overly infatuating ourselves with what success is, we'll normally like ride a wave until we get to a point where we break the miracle by thinking we're getting towards success. And what I mean by that is like real success is a flow because it's a knowing, right? It's like as soon as you realize that you actually are capable of doing it, you can actually do it, right? And like that's a first thing where it's like you might be on the path to like what you think success is, but deep down you actually don't truly really really actually believe you can do it. You're just kind of walking along the path to success, but in your heart you really maybe don't believe that you can actually do it. As soon as you fully take that on 100% and say, oh, I can 1,000,000% do this, right? And that's when you get to radical confidence, right? Radical confidence is how you enter flow state because you're getting rid of every fear, every self doubt, everything that gets in the way of actually doing what you're thinking that you're going to do. And culture and everything around you has put on these limitations and barriers saying, oh, this is maybe too hard, or this is what you should be doing, this is what you shouldn't be doing, oh, stay away from that, and you play it safe, right? And all of those things are the limitations that keeps you from flowing into the abundance of what you're actually looking to accomplish. And when you can block those limitations and say, I can easily do this, right? Like success is just a perspective, right? What is success? If you want to make money, then sure, go make money and know that you can do so, but also know that you're not tying yourself to it, because if you tie yourself to money, then you're always going to get close, and then you break the miracle by being like, oh my God, I'm so close. And then you break the miracle, right? And then that flow state drops. And then that's when you make mistakes and you fall back down, right? But if in the moment you can say, I know that I'm 100% capable and I'm actually just going to go walk the steps to be there. And I'm not even looking at, oh, I'm so close or I'm so this. Like, I'm just waking up and I'm making conscious decisions that are putting me towards the closer area in which I'm going to. And there's no fear, there's no limitation of what I think is possible or the time period in which it's going to get me there or how is it going to happen or this. Like, I'm just simply being, and I allow my confidence of knowing right now I have everything and I'm just molding reality to gain something else, right? And I'm not molding reality to gain something else in terms of greed or in terms of fear, like I need to have it, but simply because I have the power to do so and I'm unattached with it. And I used this analogy on a call that I had the other day. It's a James Bond mindset. And what I mean by a James Bond mindset is like James Bond will drive $1 million car and then crash the car and then get out of the car and be like, ah, oh, man, what a great car. Okay, back to the mission, right? Like it's completely unfazed, right? Because you're not tied to it, right? You are so focused on the mission that anything that gets in the way of it is not real, right? Like $1 million car gets crashed. Oh, whatever. Okay, back to the mission. Oh, this ends up happening. Oh, whatever, back to the mission, right? Because you realize that's not what it is. That's not real. It's just a thing that gets in the way of it. And money is a part of that. We're talking now broader in terms of life. Like if you want to navigate success, you first have to realize that success isn't the thing, it's a thing, right? Like it's a thing that actually isn't a part of like you and what you are and your power. It's just a thing, right? And it's like as soon as you can just look at it as a thing and not some big thing and like massive point to get to, you'll realize that it's actually a lot easier to get to it than what you think. You're just adding extra layers of limitations on top of it because of what a society has told you is normal and what's not normal, right? So if you can block those limitations and break them and step into reality, I was talking with Ark, and one of the things I told her is like, there's an invisible line in front of you that you think is a brick wall. Like your path to success is simply one step in front of you, but your brain is putting a brick wall there. And in reality, there is no brick wall. But that brick wall is your thoughts, right? It's your thoughts, your fears, your ideas, right, of what your reality should look like or what your life should look like or what perfect decision that you should make or everything that gets in the way of you just taking a step and breaking the invisible wall, right? And know that there actually is nothing in front of you. And as soon as you realize there's nothing in front of you, you can attract the success in which you're gaining, and it's effortless, right? It's not, I need to push towards success. I'm almost there, I'm almost there. It's like, bro, I already know you are there. Right? And let's flip it on its head and let's change your perspective and not say, I'm so close, but I'm already there. I'm going to just continue to be so. Right? And it's not a big thing. It's not a special thing. It's just a thing. Right? Does that make sense?
I am I think I'm understanding. Just to recap what you just said, the main block is the belief, the faith within your heart that you still don't think that you can do it. Essentially, that's the block that is currently going on right now. And the way to overcome it is to think like, in your words, James Bond, where even if you crash the car, you lose that account, whatever happens to your funds or whatnot with trading, you still focus on the mission, which means you would realign your focus instead of being outcome driven, which is still in the case of mine, I guess, because that's the way I was. I had a bad day because I just wanted to pass
Yeah.
my 200
Because outcome
50K.
driven will always change, right? So if I'm basing my identity and my perspective on an outcome, it's forever changing and it's never stable. And if it's never stable, it's never limitless.
Beautifully said. Yeah, yeah.
And the only
Getting
the
used
only
to being
way the yeah,
habit driven
the only way to get
is the
to
goal.
sorry, go ahead, go again.
No, yeah, yeah. So I'm just reiterating to make it a little bit more sense. Uh, that being fully habit driven and having it in an unconscious competence level pretty much automatically is the goal at the end of the day,
100%.
because that's the mission. In other words,
Yep.
is that right?
Yeah. And the first point that I was making of knowing that you can actually be successful, like I can't tell you that for you, right? That like it's a radical confidence, right? I want you to have radical confidence. I want you to really sit down with yourself and like meditate on the idea that you can genuinely do anything, like radically do anything. Like, because you'll realize by exercising that part of your brain, you'll realize all of the limitation that was there is not real because you just changed and flipped it. And if you changed and flipped it, it was never real. It was just a thought. And those thoughts are the limitations that you've taken with you throughout life, right? The experiences in life that you've said, oh, this might be a little bit tough, right? But in reality, when you break all that and you sit with yourself and say, wow, I can genuinely accomplish all of these things, and I already have everything I need, right? Like, and you start realizing like you genuinely have everything you need right now, and you just practice the gratitude of the abundance, right? And when I say everything you need, I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about anything worldly. I'm talking spiritually. I'm talking within yourself, being able to practice stillness, right? Being able to be still in the moment and being able to know there's nowhere to be, there's nowhere to go. There might be a call on your calendar, but the call on your calendar is a part of the game, right? You're outside of the game. You're interacting with the game, but you're not tied to the game where it's like, oh my god, call in 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, I gotta let me make sure this is done. Let me make sure this is done. Like if I have a call in 20 minutes, like I'm just consciously making decisions and floating throughout that time until it gets to that time, right? Like my brain is not playing out situations, because if I'm playing out situations, it's a limitation on the perfection of what is now. And the only thing that's real is now. So the only thing I care about is aligning myself to now.
Okay.
I know I'm going in a lot of directions right now.
Yeah, yeah. We've been covering a lot of other topics in this just one question. What just coming back to the knowingness and the versus the thinking you can do it versus knowing you can do it. What has helped you know you can do it versus you think you're capable of doing it?
Ask yourself why you think you can't. Like sit down with yourself and say, why am I struggling with me actually fully believing? What in my brain is stopping me from that point? And you might go down memory lane and you say, wow, when I was a child, my dad always used to tell me, son, you don't know anything because you're only fucking 18. And I say, wow, that really stuck with me. That's been in my subconscious my entire life. Like it's sitting down with yourself and asking, where is it stemming from? What's the blockage? And then breaking it and realizing it's not real. It's just a subconscious program that you haven't realized is there.
I love how you mentioned the subconscious program because everything deals with our our subconscious mind at the end of the day. I've read a book recently called Think and Grow Rich, and it states that faith is built by experience, which is built by your subconscious program or your images.
I disagree. I do not think faith is built by experience. I think there's a quote that says seeing is knowing, and I disagree. No, or sorry, it's seeing is believing, but I disagree. Believing is seeing. If you believe, you will see. Not you need to see to believe. If you need to see to believe, you're always waiting to see. If I believe, I will see.
You have to believe it first to then receive it.
Well,
I do agree with.
if I'm a math equation and my math equation isn't suitable for to get the answer because I need an extra step in the equation, then I'm always waiting for the next step in the equation before knowing the outcome. If I know the outcome and embody the outcome, there's nowhere to go. I am. And then when I am, I continue to attract the I am.
So the reason why I'm feeling a void is because I'm not embodying that old version of myself anymore. And now you're telling me be, I just need to get used to embodying this new version, which is already successful. And that way, the more I get used to it, the more the reality will catch up based off what you're saying.
Yeah,
That's
you
fine.
phrase that very well, and that's what the idea of like almost transurfing is, right? Like reality has to catch up to your thoughts, right? That's the miracle of life. The miracle of life is you can mold it because reality will catch up to what you think, right? If I ask you to look, I want you like this is the analogy I always use. Look around your room right now, right? And I want you to notice everything that's blue, right? Notice everything that's blue. Close your eyes and then tell me everything that was purple, right? Now you can maybe think of like one thing, but you probably don't think of anything, right? Because you weren't looking. You have to first understand the lens in which you view life. If you view life as I'm not yet successful and money is my terms of success, then I'm always never there. And so I'm seeing everything in terms of lack. I'm seeing everything that's not purple. But if I believe that I am successful, I will see the success. Even if it's not there, because it will have to catch up to me.
That's so beautiful because I do feel like I'm in a state where I am successful, even though I'm nowhere near the success reality that I desire. And I think today was a little bit of a moment where I'm just like, I wish it was caught up by now. You know, I put in so much hard work and I wish it caught up by now. But at the same time, I also feel calm and neutral about it, knowing that it'll come at the right time. Is so in my situation, should I just like keep enjoying living in the moment
Absolutely.
until it catches
But
up?
there is no until. Like you'll just see it play out, right? As soon as you let go of worry or time, you'll just see everything click. And that's what like that's where the term miracle I'm saying is you have the power to create a miracle. That miracle is when you break all of those ideas and you just mold reality. And it's like it's effortless, right? And this is like we're getting into like transurfing, philosophy, spirituality. Like this is what my goal is not to say like do this, do this, do this, but to frame things in a way that it can maybe subconsciously click with you and say, wait a second, there maybe has been periods of my life where I've been so present, so joyful, so happy, and things have just happened. Why did those things just happen without me trying to make them happen? Right. And that's where you start diving into yourself and your subconscious power to mold and bend reality, because success and the idea of success can't be bent if it's something that you in your brain is rock solid, right? If it's rock solid and it's like, wow, man, success is like that's the thing I need, right? I need money, I need more of it. I'm always chasing, right? And if it's that, then you can't bend it, right? But if you break it and you say it's not real and it's a perspective, right? Then you'll realize that you can do anything with it, right? And if you operate from that sense, you'll end up attracting and stepping into the time, almost like the timeline in which those things are yours because you are that person.
Well said. That was very well said. Thank you so much, Justin. That
Of
really
course, bro.
helps me out.
Of course, of course. Any other questions you got, or is that it?
As far as I know, just gonna enjoy.
Let's do it, bro.
Thank you.
All right, Alan, hop on here, bro.
Hey Justin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think so. Your mic's a little. Keep talking.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I have a question. How do you handle So right now I'm struggling when I enter to a trade that my heartbeat goes up and I feel like anxious and fearless and fearfully
What are you fearing?
about about my trade not going what I wanted to go.
Why are you fearing the trade not going where you want it to go?
I don't know because I think I still need to master the strategy.
I don't think that's what the problem is. I
Mm,
think that you're afraid when you enter a trade because you care too much about the outcome because you're looking for the outcome to affirm that you're doing something right to know your strategy. So you're in an endless cycle. Because right now you're saying I don't know my strategy and then you're nervous entering a trade because you want that trade to affirm your strategy and so you'll never get there.
Okay, so what should I do?
Realize that there is no fear.
No fear?
You care too much about the outcome because your outcome is dependent on who you are going to look to yourself and identify yourself with. You're basically sitting there saying, if I win this trade, I'm good. If I lose this trade, I'm not good. I suck.
Yeah, you're right. How do I practice to not care about the outcome?
Start realizing that it's your thoughts and not reality. And ask yourself, what do you care more about, your fairy tale or reality?
Mm, okay. Right now I'm in a losing streak, but I still have money to trade. Do I do I be patient?
Of course. What's the question you're asking though?
The first question that I asked you, how do you handle that?
Well, what was the one that you were just saying though in terms of being patient?
About like yesterday at 12 p.m. I entered the trade, but I was looking for a trade desperately that I lose money.
Why were you looking for a trade desperately?
I don't know. I feel like I wanted to make money. I'm focusing the money right now.
Yeah, you're focused on you're focused on it affirming to you, right? You want the success. You're caring too much about the success and not the process of doing what you're doing.
Hmm.
You have to learn to enjoy the journey and have confidence that the success is already coming.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, and that's all for now.
Okay, let me know if you need anything, bro.
Thank you,
Gotcha, brother.
Justin.
Have an interesting question. All right, Waffle.
Yo, what's good? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. So I have two questions. I have a technical question first about actually like the charts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like with the Forever model, I've been trading it for a while, and I've always kind of like been like interested on like entry models and stuff. And I know that like obviously narrative and everything is way over that. But do you think that in terms of just like or like as a system as a whole, is it too much confirmation to, with the forever model, wait for a new fair value gap to get opened up the second that we make that move? That's the big
Yes.
displacement change of the
Yes.
state.
Yes. Yes.
It's too much
Um.
confirmation.
Yes. Well. So I don't think that there's too much confirmation, but I think it's your that move. You're gonna get a shitty fill or miss the entire move if you wait for that. Like you want to
Yeah.
take if I'm confident there's a bigger time from SMT, there's a confident draw. Like let's say there's
Hmm.
sell side resting below and the market's moving higher. We're in a bigger time frame for value gap, and then they're just got put in a big bearish SMT, right? I'm looking for
Hmm.
a fair value gap to get ran through and manipulation, and I'm taking an entry. I'm not looking for a fair value gap to be pulled back to. Not looking for display for like because what I can do. Here, I'll share a screen and I'll explain my thought process here. But like,
Awesome, bro.
let's say this is the case, right? Let's say let's say I'm looking at like this. And I'm looking for price to go lower, right?
Mhm.
So internal high gets taken. Now, if I wait, right, let's say the market does this. Right. Now, I could try to take an entry here, right? Is that good? Yeah, of course, right? But what I want to be looking for is the best RR that I can quickly go break even on that is not going to affect my trade. So like, let's say the market does this. So to the left of us, let's say a fair value gap gets ran through right here, and I take my trade right here. Okay. Now, let's say the market goes quick, because a lot of times, like, okay, let's say I'm not in this trade, and now I'm like, oh, changing this date fair value gap, I'm looking to take a trade. And then the market does this, right? And you're like, oh, fuck. Well, now what, right? Like, the market just went without me, and I can't really do anything. Because then what will happen is we'll most likely have it later on, right? Either the market will do this, where it's like we'll displace, but we won't even come back up. We'll do like this, right? Like, we'll respect whatever fair value gap is here and then continue to go lower. So I want to get to a point where I can enter on that fair value gap break, have a tight stop, because if I'm wrong, the market will most likely then go higher, and then I'll wait for it again. If I get it again, then I'll re-enter it with the same technique, right? Wait for a fair value gap, tight stop. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and then I'll just re-enter if I need to. But if I can take entries up here and not down here, because if I take an entry down here, number one, I have a worse fill. I have to have a looser stop, and there's more likely that I get stopped out and it continues in my favor than it is here, right? Because if I'm taking a trade here, I know I'm either going to be stopped out quick or I'm going to be able to be in a risk-free trade, right? So like, let's say this fair value gap right here gets ran and this high gets taken, and like we're starting to look really heavy and everything's looking good, and I take it like here, right? Which is like pretty at the highs, but like internal high for value gap gets ran, internal change, like I take it here. And then as soon as this low gets taken, boom, stop to break even, right? So now I'm in a risk-free trade, because then this low right here is a change in the state on the bigger time frame. So then if we displace through it, I'm in a risk-free trade in a great fill, and I don't have to worry. I just let it do its thing, right? But now if I'm not in a trade and I'm looking to take an entry, I don't know if the market's going to rebalance here and then go lower. I don't know if the market's going to go rebalance here and then go lower. I don't know if it's going to get ran through, right? I don't know. The market's going to do whatever it wants to do. So if I can position myself to go quickly break even and then be in a good position where my break even isn't even at a point in really which is the market's most likely going to come back to, I can let the trade run free, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Awesome, bro. All right, yeah, that helps a lot with the chart and everything. Awesome, bro. Okay, my second question was a bit more like what's it called? Like more what's it psychological, I guess. When you're on the chart, and a lot of people, I think it's very individual, right? But I don't think it's talked about enough, like at least in my opinion, is the state that you're in when you trade in. Like I know you listen to jazz. There's people that wake up, they have their coffee, and then like you've made fun of people before you get on, they listen to like rap or like house music and they're all hyped up because it alters like the state
I
that your
honestly,
mind's in
yeah.
when you're decision making.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But like, what do you think? And obviously, it's individual, right? There's people that do it
Yeah.
and they can make money how whatever way. But what do you think is like a good base point to start at? What should your mind be in the state of when you're trading?
Radical confidence. Not reckless confidence, but radical confidence. Where I can sit in front of the charts and I'm not operating of like, okay, where's this trade gonna go? When is it coming? When is it coming? Right? Where it's like, but I'm radical confidence being like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, like I'm like I literally have I don't, there is no need, there is no lack. Like I'm simply watching price action diligently and I'm understanding and saying, okay, this is going to happen. Like I don't even need to talk out loud. I can simply read price action and be in the flow state, right? How do you enter flow state? You get rid of all limitations, right? And you simply react to what is. If I can react to what is without my preconceived ideas of I need to make money, I need a passive funded account, I need to be right, I need to do this to affirm something, I can see things clearly and make clear decisions. The only way to make clear decisions is to have a clear mind outside of limitations and personal desire. Your personal desire is to be in flow, to be confident. Your personal desire is to no longer trade well or make money. It is to be confident and to be in flow, right? Just to watch the market and not think about anything except for just the market in the moment, being present. What is it doing? There is nothing else outside of that.
Got you, bro. Yeah, because like everybody does it different. Like even like TJR, bro, is like, but like people like they call everything. They're like, I'm so confident in this, and then like you're like that too, but you're also more like, we'll see if this gets delivered, and that can
Yeah,
change your
I don't
decisions
know,
and like
right? Like
the
I could
impartiality.
the thing is I like there is no right or wrong. Like I could sit here and it all comes down to like phrasing, right? Like
Mhm.
when I'm talking on live in terms of how I would teach, right? Where it's like, hey, I want you to look at this. If this happens, we can expect to see this. If this happens, we
Mhm.
can expect to see this, right? So it's like people can understand that. But if I'm trading on my own, in my brain, I'm doing exactly that. I'm saying this is going to happen, right? Because what's the there is no problem with that, right? Like we think that may be like ego, but in my opinion, that's radical confidence, which is a good thing. Because if I'm confident in something and then it doesn't work out, there's nothing there's nothing, right? Like it doesn't affect anything. I was wrong, right? But the problem is if you are tied to the radical confidence,
Mhm.
and you're not pulling from it, just being like, I'm looking for this to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, you go back on your decision and you say, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. As soon as you go back, you break all confidence. You're weak. You'll never be in flow, right?
Mhm.
Because if you're always questioning a decision instead of being conscious within the decision, you'll never be in flow state. You'll always be questioning if it was the right decision. And if you're confident saying, the market just put this SMT in, break, like imagine if, like, let's say the market does this, right? Where it's like boom, 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 boom. Like boom. At this point, I'm confident. I want to see the market go lower, right? Like I want to see the market go lower. I take my trade and I'm like, this is what's gonna happen. Well, I'm just like drawing an example, but like if there's a trade, right? I'm like, this is what I want to see happen. And I take the trade and I'm confident that it plays out, right? That should always be that. Any decision I make should be conscious confident.
I got you. Yeah. So just like that, but it's also like cool how it's like it has unity with the ideas of like impartiality, like being an observer, not caring what happens, but like being very like even you said like confident in your inaction. All of those things together, I
Exactly,
think is like
exactly, exactly.
gotcha.
And that's probably more important, right? The confidence in
Yeah.
inaction. But when you do make a decision, you're confident in the decision. And
Awesome, bro.
it's not based off of like I'm confident in the decision as like I need to see this happen and like I'm confident that it's going to play out, but it's simply the perspective in which I'm choosing to look at it at.
Okay. All right, bro. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Got you, bro.
Have a good one.
All right, who's next? There's nothing wrong with blasting rap before trading if that's what you want to do, right? If that gets you into the confident state, if that gets you with a little pep in your step, then that's all I care about. All right, let me bring you on, Pook.
Yo, 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 can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, bet. Wait, hold up. Me. All right, bet. So my question is, I've been really liking I have like this model. It's called the market structure shift model. Um, that I've been using a lot. You know, like market structure shift with the fair value gap at swing lows or swing highs. But what I'm finding is that they usually like work. You know, with the confident bias and all that fun stuff. But I'm going deep into drawdown before it starts going in my direction. And so I'm wondering because I usually enter the trade as soon as it hits the fair value gap. You know what I'm saying?
Take the inverse on the break and don't wait for a fair value gap to be pulled back to. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah, I
what
see
you're
what you're saying.
waiting for is like break, pull back to fair value gap. You
Mhm.
should look for inverse fair value gap into the break that you're taking the trade. Because then you're getting
Got you,
tight.
got you, got you. I see what you're saying.
You're getting tighter risk. And then once that internal low gets taken, like the example that I just showed, you move stop to break even and you're risk free.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so really entering like Actually, here, can you show me an example right fast?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So like we'll flip this into like the other example.
Right, because I'm waiting for a market structure shift to like confirm bias. You feel me?
Yeah.
Um, but
Let's
yeah,
say
it's putting me in a spot.
this is what I'm looking at.
Mm.
I'm taking the trade as soon as there's internal manipulation and a fair value gap gets ran through. So if there's a fair value gap
Gotcha.
right here, I'm
Mm.
taking it right here with in this case, what is that? 643 points? No. I don't know. It's not showing. 28 points. All right, 28 points. Now, because this model on a lower time frame, actually, let me redraw this out because it'll make more sense, right? On the lower time frame, it'll most likely look like this. Kind of glitchy right now, but right. So this in itself is an internal model, right?
Mm.
Buy side swept, SMT, internal high gets taken, change, and then this fair value gap gets ran. So I take this with my stop above the inefficiency, and then as soon as this internal low gets taken, I move my stop to break even. So boom,
Yeah.
stop to break even. Now, if I was to wait for this, then the market is going to sometimes just do that, right? And like
Right.
there is no entry, right? And that's why you want to be taking this entry, because even if you get stopped down break even, like you're in a risk-free trade, right? After that low gets taken, because this is an internal model that says this low is most likely going to get taken if that fair value gap gets ran through. But now if you're waiting for a pullback, you don't know where to enter. You're trying to say, okay, do I enter here? Do I enter there? Do I enter there? Like, because this is now a whole inefficiency that you're like, okay, do I wait for a big, deeper pullback or do I not? Or do I wait for internal manipulation? And then if I put my stop here, then that could maybe be internal turtle soup. And it's like, if you take it here and then move your stop to break even, you're risk free
Right.
with a tighter stop and less risk and better RR.
Yeah. So I do it though. I do wait for the market structure shift for the purpose of like there's as confirmation in a sense, right? Because I just feel like I've seen too many times where we'll run an inefficiency and then I'll enter and then we'll literally run back up. So it doesn't even give me the opportunity yet to move to break even because
Well, that's what you got to look for is
the market
displacement,
motivated.
right? So like, let's say that there's a fair
Mm.
value gap here and the market does like, we start to like dance, right? And we never actually break
Yeah.
it, right? So I'm looking for displacement, right? I'm looking for the market to clearly run through it. If we can clearly run through it, I don't care where my fill is in this range. It could be here,
Okay.
it could be here, it could be here, it could be here. But I'm going to be making the
Yeah.
same decision either way. So if I get a fill here and my stop's up here, I'm still doing the same thing. If the market goes to that low, I'm still moving my
Mm.
stop to break even.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the
Okay.
time is what's going to confirm the bigger time frame move. This low getting displaced through, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, I don't have to deal with all of this extra risk because if this is a sweep, because the only thing that's going to validate a move lower is this getting displaced through. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah.
So
No, I
I'm
get what you're saying.
playing the future. I'm playing the
Mm.
future before it happens because I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm positioning myself to be on the advantage before it happens. So I take this short here, and as soon as that low gets taken, I move my stop to break even because I know that the only way the market can go lower and validate a move lower in relationship to the model is to displace through that low, which becomes the change in the state
Right.
on the bigger time frame. So now I'm risk-free in the trade. But if I'm wrong, we'll sweep the low and go back higher, and then I don't have to incur the extra drawdown. It's a break-even trade.
Yeah. And so, and then like this is my last question. I think potentially my last question. Um. Okay. So again, another reason why I would enter off the um market structure shift is because it'd be obvious displacement. So in such circumstance where we run the fair value gap right first, um, Like, would you take it? Would you take it if we're dancing and then we just like and then we kill the
This
Ferrari
is
gap?
here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and we're just gonna look at price action and backtest and go through the differences, right? The idea of what happens when the fair value gap gets ran versus what if I was to wait for like a cleaner change in the state, right? So like, let's go like over here. I need to pull up ES to also. Oh, that was later on. I'm kind of being spoiled. All right, where are we? Okay. So let's say this is buy side. Internal buy side's been taken here. 4-hour fair value gap hasn't been tapped into. Don't know what we're gonna do. Right. Now, this is actually a model that I think we ended up playing out this. We'll keep watching though. We'll actually skip to the next day. We can go to 9:30 open.
All right. I also like Freddie's question just now is can you also are you finished show us what like a proper displacement looks like? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you the difference between
Okay.
what happens after the inverse versus what happens after the proper displacement. I don't know
Okay,
where. I'm
bet,
just gonna pick a 9:30 open. 9:28. Okay. Okay. So I'm looking at the 15-minute, right? Nothing. I want to see a big imbalance, right? I want to see something that's clear to me. Is there a 1 hour for value gap? Not really, but we have had internal high got taken. And when we're looking at the range too, it's like there's a lot of downside, right? I'd want to see us rebalance to these inefficiencies. Anything on the 4 hour? There it is. So 4 hour for value gap, bearish. What happens at open? Okay. Looking at open, when do I want to sell? I don't know. Right? I'm looking at this and being like, 15-minute for value gap here. Internal change. The change in the state isn't really clear. Let's go to the 5-minute. Okay, 5-minute. What are we doing here on the 5-minute? Okay, well, 5-minute also is a little bit sketchy, right? Like, we've kind of had this move up. No internal change really, but this was technically our change in the state. So what am I going to do? I'm going to wait till open and see if there's a clean break that's going to show me if the market wants to go lower or not, or if we end up going higher. So this is what I look for, right? Market opens. Market immediately starts to dump. Right? So I'm most likely expecting on ES, there's probably like an SMT here. I'm not positive, but that's what I'm guessing. This I'm guessing will probably go quick. So in terms of like me taking a trade here, there probably isn't a trade. Like one thing that I could take is this, right? Which is like the 15-second, but it's pretty zoomed in, right? If there's an SMT here and I'm confident the SMT market opens, boom, run this 15-second fair value gap, enter the short, stop at the high, super tight, and I'm risk free once we take these lows, right? So then market most likely continues towards sell side. We'll continue to watch here, right? Market pulls back, so now we're in a little tricky place, right? Internal low gets taken. What would I need to see really for me to be bearish or for me to be bullish and expect higher? That 1 minute fair value gap to get ran through, right? So we'll clear it up here. All right, so I'd need to see this fair value gap get ran through to go higher. Majority of the time, I'm not expecting this to get ran through. I'm expecting this to hold bearish and continue to go back lower, right? So this is where I can maybe zoom in and say, okay, is there maybe an area in which I can look for a continuation potentially, right? I'd want to see a fair value gap get put in, right? Okay, fair value gap gets put in, right? If this gets ran, I could maybe look for a continuation lower. It's a little aggressive, but it is something that I can take. So we'll watch it and see how it plays out, right? Doesn't get ran through, continues to hold. Do we have internal manipulation? Do we have internal manipulation? Oh, yeah. Okay. So now I'm like, okay, do we want to run the 1 minute? Oh, no, I just reset the chart. Hold on. I got to find where I was. Where was I? Where was I? Green box, green box, green box. Green box, green box, green box. On.
Well,
Fuck.
you got it, bro. I believe you. I believe you, man.
Wait, I don't remember where it was. Did I already skip it? I want it load. We actually might be cooked. Wait, I'm on Ethereum, bro. What the fuck? I don't.
Is that not it right there?
This is the green
Look
box.
at
I'm like, but I'm tripping. Wait, I'm so lost. Where was it? I'm trying to figure out where like what was I looking at? This green box, this doesn't look like the green box in which I drew.
Isn't that the 4-hour green box? Did you delete that after?
Hold on. No, that was a different one. It had to have been later, right? Okay, we're gonna have to pick a new example because I don't know why I'm because this is not the one I drew.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll pick a new point. Let me go to 9:30 open. 9 p.m. There we go. 6 a.m. Okay. All right. Big fair value gap, right? Keeping it simple. Do we want to respect this or do we want to displace? I have no idea. We're just going to look at internal price action and see what we want to do. Anything cleaner to the left of us, I'll lower this into the 15-minute fair value gap. Look at the 5-minute. We're in the 5-minute fair value gap. Okay. It's 5 o'clock, so we still got some time. We'll skip to open. Boom, 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 boom. 10, boom, boom. Okay. So what would I need to see first for me to be bullish? Kind of what we're doing right now. We're running this 5-minute fair value gap, right? So this 5-minute fair value gap, now this is where I'd look at ES. If there's an SMT here, I'm slapping longs, right? If there's an SMT here and the market opens and we start really running through this, I would slap longs with a loose stop. Okay, so market opens, we sweep it, and we go lower. Now let's look at the 1-minute. Is there an inverse, right? So market opens. If I'm looking at the 1-minute, when I'm looking for a change, I'm saying, okay, well, it's not super clear. What I would look for if I'm going to take an entry is this fair value gap getting ran through and we close below this, right? So I'm not worrying about where I necessarily get filled. Because I know if this is most likely going to happen, I'm going to move my stop to break even when the internal lows get taken. So let's say this is internal lows. If the market really wants to go somewhere, let's say the market opens, wicks higher, and then starts to sell off. Let's say I get a fill here or here, wherever, and then these internal lows, right, at the low of the move, which would technically kind of be the continuation. This actually would technically be sell side, but I would move stop to break even here. Let's say the market comes back, right, because now we have this 1-minute fair value gap. So if I want to see a continuation lower, I'd want to see this get rebalanced to and then go lower. Okay, this gets rebalanced to, right? So if we're bullish, keep in mind this also could be bullish because this could be internal sweep, right? All of this generated buy side. So I'd want to keep that in mind. So we'll see. Do we run through it? We start to run through it. I'd look at the bigger time frame. Does it make sense? There really is no kind of change yet. This would be like technically the 1-minute change, but it's a little bit zoomed in. So you could try to take something like this. It'd be a little bit of looser stop. I'd want to see what ES looks like, but we'll see how it ends up playing out. I think we can kind of go either way. So consequent encroachment gets respected. The 1-minute is still technically holding, so I'd expect lower. So this is where I'd be like very bearish. If the market does not, if the market immediately shows me that's like there's no room, we don't want to go higher, I'm expecting a decent follow through lower. So on the lower time frame, and this all comes down to like me having a confident bias. Right now, like I need to first have a confident bias for me to identify where my entry is going to take place.
Wait, but here, look, can we pause? So like, would you consider the up move, right? Disrespecting that 1-minute fair value gap. Would you live trading Justin? Would he consider that displacement through, or would you be like a little sketch?
I'd be sketched because of what happened so far in the day. Because what happened so far in the day is market opens, we take generated liquidity, and then we take generated liquidity. So now both internal liquidity pools are taken.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So if both internal liquidity pools are taken, we're going to most likely do what we're doing now, which is we're sitting in the range to generate liquidity before making another decision, right? So because both liquidity pools are taken very quickly, I'd still want to see price build and give me a better direction of what we want to do. So now it's like, okay, we start running higher. Could this still reject and go back lower? Yeah. But now I'd want to zoom out and say, okay, are we having a 5-minute change, right? So it's really still not clear right now. So I'd still honestly want to watch, and I'd say, okay, well, where could price potentially go to? I would mark this 15-minute fair value gap because it hasn't been tapped. I'd look at the 1 hour, same thing with the 1 hour. Now, after this move, and I'm looking, let's say I'm bullish, it's kind of hard for me to really take a long here. Like, there most likely would not be a trade on this day. Now, here, there's no fair value gap getting ran through, so I wouldn't take it. But if there was a possibility for a short, I would look to see the market go back lower. But it also all depends on what happens with ES, right? I don't have any context with ES. So this is the first sign, right, where we kind of start to displace back lower. But on the bigger time frame, we're displacing higher and we have all this generated liquidity, so we could start the buy model. But it really doesn't even matter. So like let's say I want to take a short out of this just because of the way I'm going to structure my trade. So I don't even have to be right or I don't have to be wrong. But let's say this 1 minute fair value gap gets ran through. I enter this trade, have my stop at the high, because if this fair value gap gets ran through, I'm expecting this low to be taken. And then once this low gets taken, I move my stop to break even, right? So boom, stop to break even. I think I would have, because this wick ended up coming back higher, so it would have been stop to break even, but I'm risk off now, right? And then again, even if I wouldn't, I'm still protecting myself because the market most likely goes back higher anyway in terms of the bigger time frame model, right? So now it's like the way in which I want to look for trades in terms of rejections and like looking for inverse fair value gap is I'm looking to position myself so I'm taking a small loss or I'm literally risk free in a trade, because that's how you take big trades without any risk, right? I don't plan to take big trades, but sometimes if I can get a good entry like that and just let the market ride, being risk free, right? This is just an expansion day. Then I can take advantage of that move. So let's kind of skip in price and go to a different day.
And so is your philosophy whenever it comes to inverse fair value gaps that like the inverse is showing you that it's probably gonna go take the closest lower high, and so you're just holding it like you're getting in the trade to see if it displaces or sweeps the lower high.
Yeah, and I'm also but again, I need to be looking for it in an area in which I'm already expecting to possibly go higher, right? Like what am I doing here, right? Like okay, buy side, internal sell side gets taken, right? I'm kind of expecting the market to most likely go higher here, right? So what am I looking for? Market starts to run through a 5 minute fair value gap, right? This 5 minute fair value gap getting ran through. If we're bearish, this 5 minute fair value gap most likely gets rejected and we go back lower. If we start to run through it, I'm most likely expecting the market to go back higher, right? So the market goes back higher. Now it's like, okay, do we want to sweep this higher? Do we want to go lower? Well, the only way in which I would expect to sweep this high is if we get manipulation and a fair value gap getting ran through. And what you'll find is if the market goes higher, you won't see that. So let's see. Okay, market goes lower, respects the fair value gap. No fair value gap has been put in yet. So we just continue to go higher, right? Until there is a actual change and a clean break, there won't be a move lower because now that the draw has been flipped, right? And that's where you align overall bigger time frame context then too, right? Like what's the probability? Well, there's all of this buy side down here, right? And we've rebalanced back to equilibrium of the bigger time frame price range, right? So that's where you align bigger time frame confluence as well, and you get a clearer answer. But let's go next day as well. We'll do like one more example. I haven't really found the perfect examples in which I'm trying to show, to be honest.
No, I mean it's been good. It's been good.
Let's go here. Actually, I already saw it. I don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, cause the model I've been using recently, like it's been printing, like it's been smacking. I've kind of seen that I can get a better risk to reward without going 10 minutes and draw down.
Yeah.
And then start with see it reverse. So
okay, so I'm looking at this, right?
I have one more question real fast before we dive into this. Is also whenever you're looking at like let's say a 5 minute or a 1 minute fair value gap, are you a fan of zooming in to a lower time frame and seeing if there's change the states inside the fair value gaps take entries? Or do you want to see on that same time frame whether or not it's going to respect or disrespect?
It depends on the price action that's built into the fair value gap. So what I mean by that is what's going to be lower probability is this. Displays through, 5 minute fair value gap gets created, market comes back higher, you run for fair value gap, right? This is lower probability, right? What's higher probability? There's more price action that's built into it, so I can gain a better understanding. Let's say the market does this, and then the market, does this, and then we do that. A lot more confirmation. Because we've spent time in it, we've generated sell side, we've had manipulation from a clear internal high. Now, this could be on the 1 minute out of a 5 minute, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm doing the same thing. Fair value gap gets ran through, low gets taken, move my stop to break even. I'm now risk free on the trade because for us to go lower, we have to displace through this. So if we displace through this, it's now confirming the move lower, and I'm now risk free, and the market does its thing, right? Even if we come back and get stopped even, I don't lose anything.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, because
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, you've been talking about position management, and so I've been using that in my trades. I mean, dude, like it's so fire, like it's so lit, it protects you. But yeah, I don't know why I made that comment. Hey, now it's in the air. Anyway, you can continue now.
Okay, so we're going in open, right? Buy side left of us taken. We're way above Asia session. I'd want to see the market go lower, right? So if I'm going into open, I would look for, first of all, this, right? This 5-minute fair value gap. If this 5-minute fair value gap gets ran, I'd want to see higher so I can have internal manipulation. If the market opens, we respect it and then have an internal model lower, I'd want to see the market go lower. So boom, market opens, we start to go lower. I'd zoom in here, go to the 15-second. I don't think I can. But let's just say this is the fair value gap I'm looking to get ran. Let's say that this is now starting to get ran. Let's say I take my short here, have my stop here, and then if this low here gets taken, I move my stop to break even, right? So now I want you to calculate risk to reward here, right? So if I take this trade, let's say my stop is 209, and then let's say I'm in, we'll just have to go through tick value. 25 ticks, right? Now, I can ride this down however I want. I can scale. But let's say the market, so let's see what we do here, right? Boom. Low gets taken. What happens? Stop gets moved to break even. I'm risk-free on the trade. Now, if the market wants to sell off, the market can sell off. But now my price target is not internal liquidity. If I take my price target here, my RR is skewed. So I just go break even and I target whatever the opposing liquidity pool is and I just let the market do its thing. So I get stopped out and it goes in my favor, right? So sometimes that will happen, but sometimes it all depends on what's the longevity of me going to make the most money, right? So there's also decisions in which I'll make based off of what the model is, right? So I'm going to ask myself, depending on where my fill is, notice the fill that I have here is in premium or sorry, discount of this range. Normally, if I'm taking an inverse, I want to be taking it in premium, right? Not discount. So normally the market will most likely rebalance, which we do here, and then we continue to respect the fair value gap and go lower. So in this case, like there might be an example in which when this low gets taken, I won't move my stop to break even. I'll maybe move it from here, you know, down a little bit to trail. But if I take the trade, like let's say I'll redraw it out, for example, and let's say this is what happened, right? Like let's say market opened, we did this, and then did this, and I didn't wait until all the way down here to take the entry. And instead, I could see price action do this. Fair value gap gets ran here. I then take it here. I'm extremely confident that I can move my stop to break even and be totally fine, right? So it's like internal low gets taken. We start to sell off. As soon as we get to like here, boom, stop gets break even. I'm not even worried, right? But if I am waiting for this fair value gap to get ran through, my stop has to be moved once this low gets taken, right? And keep in mind, this is still like at equilibrium. The trade example that we talked about was here in premium, right? Or in discount, right? So right now, if I take this trade instead of there, but like even here, and then the market gets to here, and let's say I take another entry here, right? After whatever that fair value gap is, and then market takes the internal low, I move my stop to break even on this trade. But if I'm entered here, I'm straight fucking chilling, right? I'm straight literally chilling. Yeah. I can maybe take even partials here now and just let the rest of my contracts go. But now here, I'm going to have to make the discernment to say, what risk do I want to allow on the table for a continuation, right? So let's say my stop was originally here. I can move it a little bit. But a lot of the times, the market will either continue lower or will have an initial rebalance and then continue lower, right? So there's going to be some cases where you get stopped out, and there's some cases in which you don't get stopped out. But in the long run, you will be more profitable and have way less losses and big losses in terms of doing that.
Gotcha. Okay, so what I've gathered is essentially it's just because I would say this is pretty aggressive, Justin. You know, to enter at those spots. But it's really just aggression, discernment, and management paired up into, you know, a beautiful combination.
Exactly.
Got you. Yeah, man. All right. Well,
so like
I've been on here.
Another example right here, right?
Oh, okay.
First 1 minute for value gap gets ran, right? We're generating liquidity. We're really struggling to get back up in the range. High gets taken. Fair value gap here gets ran through. Now, again, I'd want to look at over other confidence, but fair value gap here gets ran through. 1 minute change in the state. Let's say I enter my trade right here, right? Now, I need to say, okay, well, is there confidence for me to go lower? Yeah, we're above midnight open. Is there a bigger time frame for value gap here to the left of me? Well, let me look. All right, if I look at the 30-minute, look at the 15-minute. Oh, great. Boom. Great. This is what I want to take, right? 30-minute fair value gap. Fair value gap gets ran through. Let's say my initial stop loss is here. Now, as soon as we can go take internal liquidity, which is here, I move my stop loss to break even, right? So I would want the market to go do this. I move my stop to break even, or I can take partials, or I can just keep it, right? It depends, because there is a fair value gap here that we could rebalance to, right? So it all depends, right?
Yeah.
But I'm risk free on this trade. So then I take partials here, my stop's at break even, and I just let the market do its thing, right? So then if we want to go lower, right, which I'll just get stopped at break even, but then there's some days, right, because you're not playing to what you think, you're playing to what the market's going to do, and I'm positioning myself. Because there's some days where I'll enter this, and if we want to go, we're going to go. And that one trade wipes out fucking 10 losses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just let it do it, right? So even if I'm wrong, I'm still making money. Or even if, like, I'll take a trade, enter it, take partials, okay, stop at break even. Take partials here, okay, stop at break even. I'm in like 25% of my position, stop at break even. And then if we end up running, I'd get to take advantage of it, right?
So, yeah, man. All right, bet. Yeah, that answers my question. I appreciate you, Justin. Yeah, no, it did, for real.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm finna I'm probably back test a little bit tonight, and then we'll try to apply it tomorrow.
Yeah, go back test the difference between just taking the inverse versus waiting for displacement. And what you'll find is you being put in the position to take a trade after displacement is always going to be more uncomfortable too.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah, I guess like instead of you play into the displacement.
Yeah, you play into the displacement because the inverse is validating the internal low, and then when the internal low gets taken, you don't know if it's going to displace through or not, so you move your stop to break even, and then if it sweeps it, you're safe. So, and if it displaces, you're in a risk-free trade.
Yeah, man. All right, bro. Sounds good. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
I got you, brother.
Yeah, I got blessed, man. I'll see you.
All right, sounds good, brother. All right, who else wants to hop on? Yeah, this is being recorded. So then that's not forever model? I mean, technically no, right? If I'm not waiting for a change, no. But the whole point of a forever model is to give you the tools to recognize how price moves, and then understanding how you're going to be able to get the best risk and the best consistency out of it. Because the forever model is a way to view price action confidently, right? If I see that on my charts, I have a confident draw, but it doesn't tell you how to take the entry, right? The entry all comes down to how you can position yourself with the best risk. And what I found is the best way to do that is by waiting for manipulation, taking the inverse, moving your stop to break even when you do so. Because if the market displaces, I most likely am going to get a bad fill, number one, a fill that's going to most likely stop me out and then potentially go back in my favor. But also, I'm being put in an uncomfortable position to take a trade after displacement versus taking it on displacement. How do you manage to recognize the model in real time? Experience. You just practice seeing it. Don't force it. A lot of the times, like, the setup and what you're looking for is actually after the first initial idea of what the setup is. That's kind of something I've realized, like, for a lot of new people and myself when for my first couple of years, is like a lot of the times the first thing in which I see is like the fake thing, and then the next thing is kind of the thing, and then you can be like, oh wait, actually this is it. And a lot of the times it's because you're expecting a move, right? Like, let's say I'm in a 30-minute fair value gap and I'm looking for the market to go lower, right? So I'm expecting the market to go lower, and then the market goes higher a little bit, and then I'm like, oh wait, now the market wants to go lower because we just took this high, and then that was an S&T, right? So it's like, if we just waited for that, like, again, the sailboat analogy, for the picture to be painted clearly, you'll be able to recognize it. Can I hop on? Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Justin?
How are we doing, sir?
Good. I had a question. This is more off topic, but I'd like to ask, what was the turning point in your trading journey where things started to, begin to consistently click? And like, another question I have is like, what mindset shift made the biggest difference, like, on your particular journey? Because I'd say I've been, consistently, well, inconsistently and inconsistently been on my trading journey for the last, like 2 years or so. But, as for like ethic wise and, structure wise, no one has ever been able to make trading make more sense than, your ability to do that. So I do want to appreciate you for that, but I would like to, I was just curious as to like at what point in your trading journey, where did things, start to click for you? And what would you say was like the hardest like, barrier that you had to overcome on your own personal journey?
The biggest barrier was my own ego to be successful. Like
Mm,
the biggest barrier was my own ego to prove to myself I could do it and that I could be right. And it was micro things too. It was micro decisions. It was decisions in the moment that it was based off of ego versus based off of observation and unattachment, right?
mm,
Like so okay, there's a couple questions inside that question, so let me kind of go through them. The time in which I saw the most success actually did not come from trading. It came from when I stepped away from trading and I focused on my seeking within the world. It came from my understanding of myself because I started asking questions and I said, why do I actually care so much?
yeah,
Like, why do I actually care so much about, in reality, a piece of paper? Like, in reality, I don't really care about trading. I care about the thing out after the trading, right? Like, which is the
yeah,
money. Why do I care so
yeah,
much about it? And why has it ruined my well-being and ruined my perception of myself, right?
yeah.
And so I started asking the deeper question, not how can't I make money, but why am I feeling this way because I can't make money? And
Absolutely, yeah.
what you'll find is you actually don't care about the money. Your ego cares about the money. And if you want to flow with life, you can't fight against the current. And the only way to go with the current is to not care what's on the other side of it. Because
Yeah.
you'll end up attracting what you want on the other side of it. But what you think you want is what is not actually what you want. Like, you think that you want money, but in reality, you want the experience of getting to the person who can make that money, right? If I was to snap my fingers right now and just give you $1 million, you'd be like, oh, great, $1 million. And then you'd wake up and be like, fuck, that's not satisfying at all.
Yeah, it's like a placebo effect in a sense.
Yeah, you
It's
want
very
the
temporary.
satisfaction of making the money, not the money itself, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
So the only way to get the satisfaction of making the money and actually have it be because like think about it this way, right? You were not designed to work towards the next paycheck, to get towards this, to get towards my goal of $1 million. You were designed to experience experiences intimately as a human being. The human being desires to joyfully flow through life. You don't go on vacation to finish the vacation, right? You don't go on vacation to like check it off the fucking list of shit. You
Yeah.
go on vacation to experience new experiences, to feel things, to see new things, right? So you have to treat that the same way with trading. Why are you trading? Not to make money, not to check it off the list, but to experience things in yourself. You must make a conscious decision to say why you're doing something. And if the why you're doing something is just money, then everything in between you and money is noise. And you will never understand it. You'll never enjoy it. And that's why you'll always feel like you're on a hamster wheel, because you're not actually flowing with it, because you're not actually saying, I'm making the conscious decision to do this. As soon as you can say, I'm making the conscious decision to like, this is my life. I'm here right now. I choose to be here and I'm flowing with the water. And like, I care more about experiencing this and working towards it than it is the money. Because what you'll realize is you'll wake up one day with the money. It'll satisfy you and be like, wow, fuck, I can do anything because that was easy, right? Like, the only thing that gets in the way of us and success is just the limitation in our brain of it, right? Because like you could have one bad day and then that confidence gets broken. Why? Because it's
Yeah.
your brain. You think one bad thing is the thing that breaks it, right? When you realize that fear is actually the illusion, right? And like, if you want to know what scares me now, what
Mm.
scares me and what my focus is anytime I find myself in fear, I always check myself. Because if I'm fearful or if I'm anxious, I'm not resting within truth and I'm not in that state, right?
Yeah.
I know that I'm not in the state of success if I have fear and anxiety. And the world has made you think that that's like normal. Like if you don't have fear and anxiety, you're not doing it right. And I'm here to tell you that's actually the complete opposite. The complete opposite is you are not resting within the point that is going to give you the most success in everything, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's actually a lot easier than what you think. It's not like a game for money and then a game for real estate and then a game for relations and then a game for this. It just is. It's the being that will do all of it, right? Because it is you. You are the operator. Everything in life is just the projects. And as soon as you put more emphasis on the operator and the state of the operator, you'll realize everything else has to bend its knee to what the operator's perspective is.
No, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think I kind of went, maybe went off.
No,
I went off there, but
you answered my question and plus more, man. Thank you very much. No, thank you a lot for that clarification. I definitely needed to hear that. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, we do live in a society nowadays where, a lot of people are well-rounded and a lot of people almost get lost due to, of course, social media being a large portion of that. And that's something that I personally struggled with too, was my attention span. And yeah, honestly, being on social media really is a huge setback for I would assume a lot of people because
huge.
a lot of people aren't really able to just sit down with themselves for like 30 minutes and be able to just focus on something that they would rather focus on. And no, you've emphasized that clearly, and I'd like to appreciate you for that, Justin. Thanks a lot, man. I mean, yeah, thank you.
Bro, of course. And dude, like, I'm going to preface this too. It's something I always need to watch out for on myself, and all of you should as well, because it's very easy for us to pick up our phone and start scrolling, but like, you have to, like, one of the things I talked about in another call that I want all of you guys to ask yourself and get to in a point of life is like, what do you choose? For me, every day that I wake up, I always am pushing myself to choose truth. So if I find myself on social media and I'm saying, Justin, am I choosing truth or am I choosing deception? That's me choosing deception, right? That's me literally programming myself with thousands of other lives that takes away from my magic, my confidence, my abundance, my presentness, right? And I'm infilling my mind with all this programming. And then it's like, I wonder why I'm not confident and I don't have clarity in my life, because like my brain is not even consumed with my present moment. It's consumed with like fucking some random girl on TikTok doing a dumb dance, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you're feeding yourself that, then like the reality of what the setting in which you're in isn't going to be reality, and you won't actually understand and fully gain the power in which you control because you're numbing it, right? And it's like you have to always focus on having a clear mind and like being present and taking away from like, so like now I try to meditate like at least an hour a day at night most of the time, because when I meditate for a longer period of time, it's like a full reset spiritually and mentally. Like I can drain everything and reboot my system, right? And like once you're done meditating, you need to realize like that's your base setting. And your goal should always be getting back to base setting, which is fully present. There are no thoughts of future, there are no thoughts of past. It's just being. That is actually who you are deep inside you. That is your actual state. That is your true state. That's what I mean by truth. That when you eliminate everything and you get there by meditating, right? When you can meditate, it's a clear example of like getting rid of everything else and you just being. And as soon as you can just be, you'll realize that like everything will just flow to you. But in your mind, you create all these other false circumstances and false fears of what if this works out, or, oh, I need to do this by then or this. And then you incorporate the idea of time, which is another limitation. It's like, that's another conversation when we get into like,
No,
time's not
absolutely,
even real,
man.
but
I mean, dude, I mean, a lot of younger people especially struggle with self-identity, something that, historically speaking, a lot of people, a lot of human beings especially, we did not deal with this. We did not deal with, being anxious or not understanding the type of person that we are or understanding what it is that we want in life. And that's something that it took me a couple years to really understand that. And even a recent video that I watched, this guy, he was really addicted to, being on his phone. So he locked his phone up for 30 days and he did a brain test prior to that test, to the experiment, and post experiment. And his brain's percentage of attention span was at a 1%. After the 30-day mark, can you try and guess what that percentage increased
Bro,
by?
like, I don't even know, bro.
Dude, it's freaking ridiculous. His brain percentage, attention span increased by 117%.
Yeah.
Because when you're so used to like social media and just other factors that are distractions, then your brain doesn't know how to regulate what it wants. So when you give it substitutes such as whether it be trading, reading books, just having consistent good habits that you preach yourself, then your brain will understand itself. You will start to understand,
Exactly.
what it is that you want. And, age takes place in that too. So another question I have for you, Justin, is like, at what age would you say, like, it was a lot harder for you to grasp a lot of the concepts that you know at your age now? Which, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now? If you don't
I'm,
mind me asking, of
I'm gonna.
course.
Oh, I'm gonna answer the question first before I even say my age. Age
Yeah, of course,
is
of
not
course.
real. Age is just another limitation. Age has nothing to
Really?
do with it. Age has
Okay.
absolutely nothing to do with it. If I put a, if I had 5 test babies, and I had
Yeah.
and I put 5 of those test babies in different environments and different
Mhm.
teachers and different parents and different experiences, and I taught them, like, I think about this all the time. Like, one day when I have a child, right? Like, when I'm a father,
Yeah.
the way in which I teach my child about failure and experiences and how to view life, like, that child is going to be able to come to truth on a way in which many people in their entire life don't figure out until they're like 80, right? Or like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe even they're dead. Like, right? They don't even
Yeah, of
they don't
course,
even
yeah.
figure it out. So it's like
Yeah, no, for sure.
the human brain will consume the perspective of knowledge you give it, right? So
At
if
whatever time being, yeah, yeah, you're right. You're
exactly.
absolutely right.
So
Yeah.
it's like it all
Yeah.
depends on the environment. It has nothing to do with age,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
That's why people
yeah, that makes sense.
can't. So I'm 22 years old, right?
Yeah.
The majority of people don't believe me when I say I'm 22 years old, but age has nothing to do with it. What had something to do with it was my intention to seek understanding, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I could have waited till I was 30 or 40 to do that, but I got straight to the point and I said, man, there's definitely something more to this than all this fucking fake shit on social media. And
Yeah,
why,
no,
and
for
I
sure.
start
Yeah.
asking myself questions and I'm like, why am I feeling this way? This definitely isn't normal, right? And I can
Yeah.
inherently in my being feel that this is not normal. I don't need somebody to tell me it's not normal. I can feel it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't like, and that's the problem is we then tell everybody, oh, it's normal. You have ADHD or you have autism
Yeah,
or you
you
have
start putting
this, right?
titles
You
on
start putting
things, yeah.
titles, you normalize it. And
Yeah.
then you say, oh, wow, this uneasiness is normal. And then they take your power. You will never have power, right? Because if I can give you a
Absolutely, yeah.
label, then you're the label, right? My buddy's friend, who we actually just brought onto a project, she's a famous author and she writes
Yeah.
books about being sober and the mentality of being sober. And the book is called Call Me Jane, Not Sober. That's what the title is. Call Me Jane,
Yeah.
Not Sober, right?
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah.
labeling something is the trap in itself, right?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, oh well, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you, Justin, and
I
God
appreciate you,
bless
bro.
you. God bless everyone in here. Thank you very much, my brother.
God
Thank
bless you, bro. Enjoy your night.
Peace.
Should we delete all social media? I don't think you need to delete all social media. I think you need to be aware of the state you're resting in. Again, do not fall to the game. You can perceive the game. Like, for example, there's sometimes that I open up my phone and I will be on autopilot and I will be sucked into the doom loop of despair and destruction. But then there's times where I'm looking at my phone and I am fully conscious of this being all garbage. And I'm saying, this is not real. This is literally garbage. And I can perceive it from that point and I'm not falling to it, right? That's control. Real control is being able to interact with it by being completely disassociated with it and not falling to it. But if you can't control yourself and you can't get to that point yet, which is fine, delete it for a little bit and take a week off of it and you'll see the massive difference because of it. But I 100% like want to share and push you guys to break out of the cycle of being stuck in a way in which you don't even realize you're stuck, right? Like, you know you're stuck, but you don't know why you're stuck. And a lot of the times, the easiest way to flip that switch is to be still, right? Like what we were just talking about. The reason you don't have clarity, the reason you don't have confidence, the reason you don't know where you are in your journey or where you're going is because you're not still. You've never practiced actually being still. And like when I was in Arizona at my buddy's house with my buddy Jake, like when you're around people that are in this mindset, right? Everything in which we talked about, find other people in your life. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's very hard, very hard. Out of my life, I've only found one person that I truly feel elevated and operating at a tangible higher frequency when I'm with them. There is literally zero fear. There is always joy. There is always peace when I'm with this person, because we've both made the conscious decision to choose truth over deception. And once you fully make that commitment, you're able to recognize the inaction of it, and you are always on that level, right? And you always want to operate and be around people that are, and again, like the qualities of this are the qualities of the Holy Spirit, right? Like it's love, right? Unconditional love to people, always loving people, always seeing joy, always seeing happiness. And it's not that you are, but the seeing is the being, right? The being is the seeing. It's paradox. It goes both ways, right? Believing is seeing. And like it starts with you seeking it in your own journey and starting to notice like, why do I maybe feel this way? And when I feel good, when I feel present, like I'll give you the top things to focus on. Number one, presence. If you are not present, it won't click, right? And I want to like draw it out as like an analogy, right? And like I'm gonna make this kind of make sense. Let's say this circle is truth. And this circle, actually, I'm going to use a different application because I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do with that. Let me get a mirror. Okay. This circle is truth. What are the qualities of truth? Presence, true presence, love. I'm going to say limitlessness, forgiveness, and let's just keep it at that. Now let's take this and label this me. So there's me, and maybe I'm kind of floating in and out of it, right? I'm almost there, but then, right? So our life is like we're kind of there. We're half in, half out, and on the outside of this is overall, right? We're gonna label it as deception. Anything outside of that is deception. So what can be in this outside area? Money, status, desires, and desire. I'm gonna change desires to something else. Addiction. Attention. False comfort. My timeline, right? And you'll be able to fill in all of this, right? Like all of this, you'll know what deception is, right? Like my thoughts. Okay. So our life is a constant, I'm almost kind of there, I'm almost kind of there. And through, right, there's a gateway. What's this gateway here? The only way to this is a couple things. Number one, without this, then there would no be the characteristics of it. Slash, the only true way for me to get to this is by this. So I'm looking for attention. I'm looking for status. I want my timeline. I want my money. I want my addiction. I want my thoughts. I want my false comfort. How do I break out of that? Loving myself, forgiving myself, because you have to keep in mind anything that is imperfect to get to presence, right? Actually, I would actually flip this. I would say presence is the gateway, is one of the gateways. And I would say these are the main two, presence and love. Presence and love is the gateway for me to go, oh, I'm almost in. And then I fit like a puzzle piece and I am resting in truth. And resting in truth means be still and know. I am not questioning. As soon as I question, I break the miracle. I break it. I'm no longer in it. As soon as I question, oh, what about this? What about that? Because then I'm going back to my thoughts, right? Be still and know. Knowing is not questioning. Knowing is truth. So we're always trying to snap into the grid spiritually. And the only way to snap into the grid spiritually is by being present, loving, forgiving ourselves, and we can get to it. Does that make sense? Yeah, and an easy way to classify this is worldly things and spiritual things. Because guess what? You are a spiritual being experiencing flesh, not a fleshly being experiencing spirit. So the truth is you are spiritual, meaning there is no limits. Anything outside of it is what? Deception. Because it is not real. It is the one comes first. What comes first? The spirit. That's the true center to get to. So when we're outside of it, we know something's wrong. I'm focusing on status. I'm comfort. Something's wrong. I can feel it in my spirit. I can feel it in my heart. Until I love myself, even my uncomfortableness, and I say, Justin, I know you're uncomfortable, but I just love you. I love you. And it starts to break it. And I say, I forgive myself for all of these things. I forgive myself for getting mad at myself. I forgive everything, and I be still, and I know. Do you think having less stuff makes it easier? Like there's studies on a decluttered space being better for the brain. I've cleaned out closets, skincare cabinets, etc., and I find that I tend to feel better. Yeah, I think so. For sure. But you can advanced, how you get advanced, right? Once you are able to identify this and identify what this feels like of being clicked into place, then you can practice being inside of this even when all of this is going on. I can be still without being still. Meaning, I can be going through deceptive, perceptive chaos while being truly still. Meaning, I could be going through all these problems in my life, all of blah, 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 but I'm resting in spirit to see this for what it is, which is what? Deception. So then I do not have fear attached to it. All of the chains, right? Because if I'm outside of, guess what happens, right? If I'm here, there's a bunch of connections, right? There's a bunch of chains. There's a bunch of chains that are attached to these things spiritually. Right? And when I step into this, these are shattered because you're now able to see that these were lies, not truth. Does that make sense? So our goal is to go presence, love, abundance, forgiveness. Kind of looks like an M&M. So that's my lesson for the night. Be able to identify these things and ask yourself one question. What do I choose? Keyword here, choose. Why is that the key word? Free will. Who gave you free will? That guy. The source. So if the source, which is truth, gives you free will, then you must choose with your free will of truth. Of which one do you choose? And that's why you are snapping into place, because your free will of choice, which is truth, is now going back to truth. That's why you're returning home spiritually. Where's your book at, brother? Maybe one day I'll make a book. But my goal right now is I don't need to make a book. I care to be on call with you guys and love you and share wisdom and give you everything freely. I want to help you realize how much more powerful you are. Nothing attached to it. Those who have ears, let him hear. I will be here to always teach and tell you things. But if you do not have an open heart and open mind, hold on. Open heart, open mind. The only way to get there is by Jesus, love, presence, love, open heart, open mind. I wish I could afford the exit plan, brother. You're in it right now. And also, I'm going to tell you guys this too. Because I'm gonna confront my own spiritual battle, or not necessarily spiritual battle, but I'm going to tell you guys a decision. I do not want to be doing info in the next 6 to 12 months. I will stop. I will no longer, it depends on the timeline, but I will no longer be running anything because I no longer want to charge for information. I will no longer do so because it's not truth. And I choose truth, which is love. And I will choose to give you everything freely. I do not need anything because if there's something attached to it, then it's not truth. Well, I probably won't be doing it within this community. Like, if I'm going to be making like public video, if I'm going to be making videos on what we're talking about right now, I will be doing it within the people that come into my life. Number one, right? So like the people that come into my life, I make an effort to go into the matrix and grab their hand, right? That is the true mission. When we're talking about the James Bond analogy, what's the mission that keeps me focused? My mission is resting within the spirit, stepping into the matrix to hold somebody's hand and take them out and give them power and give them truth. Oh, that was great. Yeah, I like this. I like this. I like this right here. Yeah. Very nice. So this is a conscious decision, right? What do I choose? And this is the question you should always ask yourself. And also, do I choose to even seek it? Not just because you might not even know what to choose this is, but do I choose to first seek this and then snap into place? The new thing that I'm doing with Chris is the exit plan. All of the finalized changes for the exit plan are on the 20th. When are you planning on one day attack the matrix? Every day is a front lines attack. My goal is not to attack the matrix because attacking the matrix in itself takes me out of this. And that's the difference of knowing what's truth versus false truth. My buddy Jake is friends with, like, knows the dirty, darkest secrets of a lot of people. He, like, to give you some perspective, he used to date JD Vance's wife, like years ago. And he's been friends with all of these people. And he knows the secrets of all of these fucking people. He knows the accountant, the company and the individuals that do all of the accounting for OpenAI, Google, Facebook, all of the big tech companies. He knows all of the transactions. He knows the intentions of the people that are doing it. He knows where things are going, what doesn't get tracked. If he wanted to bring people down, he could do so at any moment. And also, I'm talking about a guy in which I won't most likely ever make content about. We were debating whether we should do a podcast together, because if the thing is if I was to do a podcast with Jake, I would immediately be put on a radar. And I'm not saying that to just say that. I'm genuinely being serious. If I did a podcast with Jake, I myself would be a target, right? Now, I wouldn't be fearful because it's just the decision I would have to make, saying, If I make this decision, there is literally no going back, and I am now a soldier, right? Like, so I know a lot of information that I seeked for, and I did want to know, and I do want to know, but there's a curtain. And when the curtains get pulled back, you can't close them. So I now have knowledge that I can't unknow about all of this and more. And that is why I choose this. And that is also why I'm able to convey these ideas. And there's many things that you don't know that maybe one day I will share when I feel like there's specific people that are ready. And I don't want to act like I'm like trying to gatekeep or like it's just, it's you have to want to know, because if you don't have this, it will not be fun. If you don't have presence, love, and an open heart and open mind to hear what I have to say, it's not going to end well. Thank you, Justin. This was very enlightening. Got to go work 12-hour shift at the hospital overnight. I hope I don't have to do this much longer. It's coming. You won't have to do it much longer, Rozzy. Keep telling yourself that too, right? You frame your reality. You know it's almost time to let go. Something better for you is in store. Justin, how do you think so much? I really don't know, to be honest. I think it was just, I think it's just how I was designed. I really don't know. And I don't like talking about like my own intellect. I think it's above. I don't think it's beneficial. Like, I don't think I'm different. Like, you and me are the exact same. Like, it just all comes down to what you feed yourself. And like, I decide to feed myself this. And yet I still do feed myself this, right? And sometimes I still fall to this, but I need to then realize what it is, right? I can still see it, but I then have to realize for what it is, which is this. But like, when it comes to thinking, like, I just choose to seek. I recognized these things very early in my life. I recognized what these things were. I said, why do I want attention? That's not real. Why do I want to smoke weed? That's not really fulfilling. My thoughts are kind of running me in circles. That must not be real. I have addiction. Man, that addiction must not be really sustainable because it's limitless, or it has a limitation on it. Money is not real because it has a limit to it. My timeline of what I want isn't really real because it's my will, which is outside of this, right? I know that there's something inside of me that has not yet snapped into place because I know I am a human being that is designed to experience joy and experience life that you experienced as a child, right? When you look back at your childhood, these things weren't real. But then we just say, oh, you're a child. That's why scripture tells you to be only the meek will enter the kingdom of heaven, and only the people that are like a child. Why do you have to be like a child? Because to be like a child, you realize these aren't real. I made the right decision on choosing the right mentor. I'm not a mentor. My goal is to play the game to get you here first. I play the game to reel you in like a fish out of the matrix. And I show you all this money and I show you all this stuff. And I'm like, look at some trading knowledge, spend some money on yourself, invest yourself. And the only reason I do that is so that you can actually have an open mind. And then I get you in here and I give you truth. And I say, okay, friend, I everything that you just did up until now actually wasn't real. But I played the game of deception because I knew you would fall for deception so that I can actually genuinely help you in your life. And I'm telling you right now, like in the next 12 months, 6 months, I probably won't be making much trading content because I'll be focusing on TradePath on the side. And any content that I make will be like this. What we just did here tonight. Because this beats all of this, right? You're only here for this, right? And I am now taking you out of this and making you realize this is how you gain it all and realize that this is actually not what you want. And you'll gain this by doing this. Yeah, this is recorded. Alrighty, guys. Oh, what a good session. Hour 45 into this. Oh, I could literally do this all day. Did this session spark you any way? Did this session maybe tinkle with your insides? That was terrible. That was not the right description that I was looking for, but you know what I mean. You say the darnest shit. I will repeat, am I choosing truth over deception? No, you repeat to yourself, I am choosing truth over deception. Tell yourself that that's what you were deciding to do. Well, I mean, I guess first make that decision on your own, but then it becomes, I choose truth. Alrighty, guys. I'll post my analysis tomorrow morning. I don't think there's a need to go over it right now. We'll see what happens in the overnight session, and then we'll hop on tomorrow morning and go through what happened in the overnight session, the plan for the morning. But enjoy your night, get some rest, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, guys.